All right, guys, what's good, everybody? Trade recap coming on Thursday's trades. There's no trades on Friday, so we're just gonna do a trade recap here on Thursday. Took one trade here, pretty simple. Just gonna get right into it here. We'll do a process video pretty soon. But we'll just get right into the recap videos. There will be a video every single day of this week of going through my trade recaps. So Friday there was no trades. Thursday was my most recent trade here. Being said, the process is pretty simple. Looking for a forward time frame correlation. Usually in earlier months like October, November, December, January, it would happen the first 15-30 minutes. But since market is pretty choppy, end of February, start of March, very, very choppy. So we kind of wait for the first 30-40 minutes here, guys, and we saw something later on the day. With that being said here, guys, we clearly saw that there was a strong 5-minute candle at 9:15, 9:20 on QQQ towards the downside direction on the 5-minute time frame. We also clearly see that there was a strong 5-minute candle 9:15, 9:20 on AMD on the 5-minute time frame, breaking through this wick low right here. With that being said, when I saw this strong candle at 9:15, 9:20 QQQ and 9:15, 9:20 AMD breaking this wick low, I knew that sellers were resetting into the markets. This is also a very key level here. If I put my levels on here on the QQQs, it was a nice big rejection off of previous day lows. Right, guys? This is news lows, so previous day news lows right here, and that was when President Trump was speaking. He dumped the market pretty badly, actually. So with that being said, that was previous day news lows. A nice rejection off of that news lows right there. 9:50, 9:20 QQQ, 9:50, 9:20 on AMD, just like so. Right, with that being said here, once I saw the strong 5-minute candle on the 5-minute time frame on AMD and on QQ, I then go down to the 1-minute time frame on both pairs, making sure that there's a strong 5-minute candle on the 1-minute time frame as well. So with that being said, I'll go down to the 1-minute time frame on both pairs here. And we get that for you guys in 1 second. It's right here. So right here, guys, this is the 9:15, 9:20 on the 1-minute time frame here. Nice rejection off of previous day news lows right here on the QQQs. Now on AMD, let me put it up for you guys right here. With that being said here, the process is we look, as we said earlier on, for time frame correlation. And on this trade here, it was AMDs and the QQQs. Always look for a correlation with the QQQs. And with that being said, just pull it up for you guys here. It was right here. Yep. So with that being said, as we clearly see here, strong candle 9:15, 9:20 on the 1-minute time frame right here. 9:15, 9:20 right there. So right here, strong. When you see a nice push down on AMD on the 1-minute time frame, you see a nice push down on QQQ on the 1-minute time frame here. So as I always do, I go down to the 1-minute time frame. I make sure there's a strong candle on the 5-minute time frame and the 1-minute time frame on both pairs, on QQ and on AMD here. I then zoom the trade here right before taking the trade, right before the candle closes. I got my order out and I was waiting for this close here, right? With that being said, when I was waiting for this close here, and I needed to make sure it closed below this key level, this key trend line right here, and on the QQQs, and it closed below this key trend line on AMD. Why was that important? That was important because this was a wick low. A lot of buyers are stepping off these levels. As you see right here, big buyer step in right here, big buyer step back in. So with that being said, needed to see price break below this key trend line right here, and also price break below this key trend line right here. So with that being said there, I was waiting, being patient for that kind of close. I saw a close. Nice way to find close under this level right here. A little bit of wick, but still that's okay. Fine close under on AMD right here, and a fine close on QQ, closing under this key level right there. Now I was looking for that pullback for that break and retest strategy, and I saw the pullback right there. I entered as soon as we break back below this level right here on right here. So I was waiting for AMD's break back below this level right here, and I was also waiting for QQQs to break below this level right here, because this easily could act as a support for the buyers to step back in right here. So as soon as I saw price break below this level on AMD and price break below this level on QQQ, I ended up taking that trade right there. Stop loss was just above. Stop loss was just above kind of this high right here, right next to it actually, about right here. Yeah, stop loss was about 65 cents right above the EMA. So if buyers did want to step back in here, guys, we had a lot of room to chop around and come back down. I ended up having a nice trade here. My first goal was at that 1-to-1, right about here. Scale 1-to-1. As soon as I got that 1-to-1 scale out, stop loss went into profit, and stop loss ended up going around right here. Just a little bit in the profit, just to guarantee that profit, guys. Once again, and then we hit the 1-to-1 pretty early on. So let me just recap again. Had that break and retest right here. Break and retest right here. Close under this low on AMD. Close under this low on QQs. Took the trade. Saw price continue to lower. Saw that 1-to-1 right there. Took 10% off my position right there. And this is just a trading view version, guys, to make it much more simpler for everyone else. Then we scale out 1 to 1.5 right about here. Right here, chop for a little bit. As I said, March and February is a little bit more of a choppier month. So boom, chop for a little bit, 1 to 1.5 restored right about here. Then once again, scale out 1 to 2 right about down here. And once again, 1 to 2 restored right there. Should have caught this 1 to 2.5 right here, guys. I was a little bit late to scale out. Couldn't scale out right here. Missed this right here. A little bit disappointing, not going to lie. A little bit disappointing, not going to lie. But, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Sometimes you miss them, and not great to miss one. Not great to miss one, but yeah, I missed the scale at 1 to 2.5 restored right here. Couldn't get it, and ended up getting stopped out. My stop loss was around 1.1 R right here, just a little bit below. Couple issues here, guys. One, my stop loss right here when I got stopped out. Where did I get stopped out? I got stopped out. Right, yeah, stop loss should have been way above. I'm okay with getting stopped out, actually, because it went all the way back up almost to break even. So stop was okay, but we ended up missing out on a bit more money. That's okay, though. Easily could have been a 1 to 4 risk reward right here. I was only able to capitalize 1 to 1.25 R risk reward because I scaled out 1 2, missed the 1 2.5 scale out, then got stopped out at around, what was this? I got stopped out at around 0.8 R right here. With that being said, 1 to 2.5 risk reward right here. Pretty nice trade, very simple process. Saw a 4 time frame correlation, saw the breakers on that key trend line right there, saw AMD fail the key trend line, saw QQQ fail the key trend line, took the trade right there, and scale it nicely along the way. So yeah, pretty simple recap here, guys. With that being said, this was Thursday's recap, 1 to 1.25 risk reward right here. It means if you were risking $100, you guys would have made $125. You guys were risking $1,000, you guys would have made $1,000 and $250, guys. So with that being said, hope everyone has a good day, and have a good one.